or as I prefer to call it,
How to Get Away with
Marder. Oh, I've been waiting to use that title for such a long time, and now finally I get to use it. Hey guys, Stealth here, and welcome to Wargame. Today we have a 10v10, which, as you might imagine, is starring the Marders. Now the 10v10 gameplay in this particular replay is not great, to be kind. We have all sorts of weird shit going on. And we're following Sky Papa today on his travels through this area. Now, he says he was a Panzer Grenadier in real life, and he loves to play 10v10 tacticals with Marders. Surprisingly, however, he's using a German standard deck, so not actually a specialized deck, which could make those Marders even more dangerous. No, he's just using the standard stuff. Well, standard / upfitted. It's a weird game. It starts out decently well, with a couple of attack markers from blue going up. We got Papa's units, Zach. I can barely make that out. Unions, I guess. He's going to go over to Bravo. We have Red Chieftain over here. And that is just 5 of the 10 players. So we're still missing another 5. That is, if everybody is feeling communicative today. Now, as for his deployment, he's going with a split. That is, here it is, Command Infantry and a Jupiter. 2 Marder 1A3s, not with the Panzer Grenadiers. Those are going to come in later. No, for now, these guys are the fire support units, which does make the Marders cheaper. There it is, the Fuchs in the back, and the Fuchs is carrying a reconnaissance unit. Over to the right, I'm seeing pretty much exclusively command units leading the area, including a command helo. We got a recon, an LVKV-90 and an ASLAV TOW-2. A couple of guys going over to the right in 302s and 180s. So it seems like there is a decent split, although I'm not seeing a heavy tank here yet. Maybe that's going to come in later, I don't know. Let's see. Now, the Marders. The Marder 1A3 is the top tier, I believe, for the Marders that we have standard in Wargame. I gotta be honest, I'm not exactly sure about this, because I usually don't use Marders, I usually don't play the Dutch-German deck or the German deck that much. And on top of that, there was a mod which added higher tier Marders, 1A4, 1A5. So I have seen Marders which had more impressive stats than these. Still, you're paying 25 points, and you're getting a APC / IFV, which has 5 frontal armor, 3 side. It has an autocannon. Do not fire this thing on the move, because it is really not that accurate, and you kind of need that accuracy. Because while it does have a really high rate of fire, its ammunition storage is not quite there to match. And you're going to find that this thing runs out of ammo after 90 seconds of continuous fire. Now he's dashing forward with the command infantry, which is a bold move. Leading the fight with the command infantry. I mean, leading from the front is a good thing, but not with your command infantry. We're going to let these guys get settled. Over on the right, we have Volkskamjäger, we have Commandos 90, which seemingly really want to occupy the same building. A couple of units coming in, including a command unit. There's another command unit coming into Bravo, so it looks like they might be double capping that soon. And yeah, over here on the right, we have a couple of XA-180s. This is weird. You can check my stats later. This has to be a Wargame. Somebody has to be toxic, and somebody has to be making questionable decisions. Which, of course, since Red Chieftain apparently is not getting his way, immediately causes him to surrender. After having done absolutely nothing in this game, scored 0 points. Now that does give Sky Papa a couple of units, particularly the units from Red Chieftain. So he now is the proud new owner of a command unit over here, an LVKV-90 and the Volkskamjäger. So he has to manage both flanks, which in an area like this is really not ideal, because you really want to be focusing on the units that you have, instead of constantly switching back and forth. So he might not even be aware that he inherited these units. Of course, I always try to keep attention or pay attention to it if I'm the top player or not. And I don't mean the top skilled player, but the one on the top of the list, because everybody who quits out after that is going to be getting, or is going to be sending their units to the top of the list guy. This is weird. We have a Tiger Had all the way in the back. And it is just capable of flying in. Now, it's not the first time that I've covered attack helicopters of various types or other offensive-oriented units going around the flank and doing massive amounts of damage. I was not expecting to see this. And it's not even, again, it's not even elite. It's not even a really high veteran one. It's a hardened. And it seems like the enemy is hell-bent on giving it even more kills. As at least one BM-24 and potentially two, yeah, I think two, both decided to return home at the same moment. Now, at this point, the Dutch are pushing forward. The Marders are flanking using their autocannons. They're not allowed to fire their Milans. And you can see what happens if the enemy does not really have a solid position out here from where they can fire ATGMs. Then again, it is a tactical, so it does make sense that you might be spending your points otherwise. We got a whole 35 Zalosnici coming up against what seems to be an inferior numbers of the Dutch forces. There we go, the Marders are getting their first couple of kills. Firing HGMs at long range, the vehicle tries to escape, but gets killed. And now we have an elite Marder, after having killed a command unit. Now keep in mind that Red is probably in complete disarray. There goes another command. Complete disarray at this point, because they're losing command vehicles, they're losing Bravo, they lost Echo, so they cannot spawn in anything even if they wanted to, and they have to try and get back. There we go, they have it back. At this point, the Puma comes in, probably sent out originally to spot for the attack helicopter, but now more or less misplaced, although it could be trying to challenge whatever comes in here. Now, a Hera 2 might ruin his day. There's also a BRDM, and I think a Shilka is what causes the command helicopter to go down. Alright. Let's see, the right's doing okay. We got the Volkskomjäger there. But then again, we are here not for the Volkskomjäger. We are here for the Marders. The Marders are continuously rushing forward. They have expended quite a lot of ammunition, both on the ATGMs and on the autocannon. It's only a 20mm autocannon as well, which means that it only does 2 armor piercing. Which is not a great amount, but whatever they've had to face so far died pretty damn easily. The Dutch have survived. They have control of Bravo. Red has 3 sectors, Blue has 4 sectors, and is probably going to get a 5th soon. And as you can see, unfortunately he did lose the other units that he inherited on that line. One of the Marders spots another command vehicle and promptly kills it. That's, by my count, the 3rd command vehicle kill that he got so far, maybe even the 4th. Unfortunately, this unit is going to ruin the day. An Akula comes in. It tries to get a kill on the Marder, unfortunately gets stunned, and then the Marder kills first the command unit and then the Akula. 2 AP might not be enough, but it is enough. Sorry, might not be might not be much, but it's enough. Now he's firing units on the right flank. There goes a T-64B, which is definitely way above its weight class. I mean, it's a 25-point unit that just took down a 70-pointer. They took down command units. They took down a helicopter. There goes a command. No, sorry, not a command infantry. That's an HGM infantry unit. And we have another HGM infantry, which also gets killed by the Marder. It's just ridiculous how much these things can get away with. Now, it seems that Red only is down to 2 sectors now. We have Echo and Fox for Red, and Blue still has the other 4. We're still looking for a command unit over here. If that can be found, then we can actually get this sector. And somebody's saying CV. There is a CV right there. But apparently, I think that was a BRDM command unit, did make it into the area. Now at this point, an Mi-25 comes in. Not terribly dangerous with its flight time missiles, but still not really something you would want to be fighting with a Marder. Speaking of, he's going to get the improved model. Or rather, I'm not even sure if you can call it an improved model or a complete overhaul. The Marder 2. If the game actually would allow me to highlight that. Marder 2, 70% accuracy. 300 rounds of 50mm autocannon ammunition. 204 rounds a minute rate of fire. And it does 6 AP. Firing at helicopters at a range of 1575. So this thing has a far better chance of taking on something like an Mi-25. Blue has pushed up over here. And this is the guy who originally said down here on the bottom, you can check my stats later. And he has managed to take the building over here. Which is a pretty interesting position, because anything that would like to get to Foxtrot is going to have to go through these. And pretty much as expected, more and more of Red 4 is starting to surrender. Now at this point, the game is, what, 5 minutes old? Because it sure as hell is not 10 minutes old yet. But in 5 minutes, in a tactical, Sky Papa has scored almost 1,000 points. For the moment, he's just consolidating his forces here, deploying a Milan 2 team to make sure that any vehicles that are trying to cross the field are going to be either killed off, or at the very least dissuaded from making any further moves. And since it is a tactical where Red 4 does not have a lot of points, because they barely had any sectors, they're trying to come up with a, well, a makeshift defense. So we're even seeing an SO-76 Hellcat. It doesn't have any autonomy, which for me would always be a deal breaker, because 200 kilometers autonomy means that you're always going to be carrying fuel tanks around to make sure that this thing gets to the front line. But if your front line is this close to your main zone, then the Hellcat can actually be useful. 6 AP, 2 HE, and I gotta say, an impressive 50% accuracy on that 76mm that he has. Milan's pushing forward, trying to get the kill. Even have an F-100D coming in. I think it got the kill in the infantry there. Oh, and another player from blue left. Because now we also got a couple of Commandos 90s for Sky Papa. And an Aslav 25 TOW 2. So he's inheriting units all over the board. Literally all over the board, because not only do they have different nationalities, but they're also spread out from the far left to the far right. Now I gotta give credit to the Red 4 guys who at this point are still sticking around. They're 1,400 points down. They are only in control of, I suppose you could say, one sector, because really Charlie's not doing very well. So they only reasonably have Echo, and that is probably going to change very soon. What you usually see happen is that people just go, ah, fuck it, I'm gonna quit. Some of the Red 4 guys are still sticking around. So kudos to them for that. Although, look at this, 0, 0, 0, 10, 35. It is not great, to be kind. Panzer Grenadier 90s are rushing forward, unfortunately right into a Greyhound, which, despite being a unit from 1948, is still a capable spotter, and is still very capable of kicking the Panzer Grenadier ass while they are trying to traverse the open area. This thing has 2 AP. Had the Marder 2 there been actually transporting the infantry over here, the infantry would have been perfectly fine. Because the Greyhound could not do anything against that Marder 2. At this point, it is just pushing up and mopping up, because there's really not that much left. So let's just speed things along a little, because I gotta say, the replay from this point on is really not that impressive. I mean, it's just mopping up. There's another Greyhound, another Hellcat, another Hellcat. It's just spamming Hellcats at this point. Which is not even a bad tactic, because they really only need to get one kill, even on an infantry, and they get their money's worth. But still, Blue is going to be able to replenish these forces faster than they're going to be able to replace the SO-76s. Highlight of the replay was just what the Marders can do if left unchecked. One tank over here in this area, or an ATGM unit, ATGM infantry, it doesn't have to be anything stellar, could have radically changed the outcome of this game. Because since Red was losing so many command units over here, I think they not only lost control of the sector, but also got very demotivated and thought, okay, if they're already in Charlie, then this is basically over. If the Martyrs had been shut down, it would have taken a lot more time for blue to actually get this far. And sure enough, they did take control of the forest. They did kick out those guys, but then you still have to traverse to the next force. And then the town, so it's not that much of a done deal. So you could argue, hey, this was a really, really one-sided match. And I wouldn't argue, it is a one-sided match. It's 2,800 points versus 800 points. It is not a fair fight. But the way that these Marders were just able to do as much damage as they did, especially this 1A3, because keep in mind, this is an original unit. This is the unit that he got in the start, if I'm not mistaken. This thing did a load of damage. Ziegler. So let's skip forward to the kills list and see how much damage exactly this thing is going to be able to do. Or will have done by the end of the battle. You might see this Marder, Ziegler, again. Because recently I asked for a hero unit, as I call it, which is a unit that survives the entire battle, and that sees a lot of action. Now, a unit that sees a lot of action and that survives the battle is not that easy. Especially in a tactical, and moreover being an IFV. It's really unlikely. But this one did make it through. Now, Sky Papa scoring 1,214 points and losing 205. Gaining 969 command points. That's probably because he also inherited a couple of other CVs that might have been in good positions. Red Chieftain, the guy who was calling M13 a noob, got 0 kills and 10 losses. Whereas M13, the guy who was called a noob, got 339 kills and 20 losses. So, whereas this guy got absolutely no markup, he got about a 16 times markup on his kills versus losses. So who's the noob now? Scrolling down, we can find Ziegler killing Vasilek. 1 command vehicle, a couple of transports, HGM infantry, mind you. HGM infantry, which could have very easily killed off the Marder. A T-34 85, a Pongay 2, and a Past Praga. The other Marder got 4 command vehicles killed, an Akula and a T-64B. 1 Marder 1A3. To calculate the markup, I'm going to ignore some of the units because they don't really have a value, but this is 400 points. The Akula is 150 points, so we're looking at 550. This was 70 points, so that's 620. An Igla N, I think, is 20 points, 640. And then a Vasilek is 45 points, so 685 points. That is 685 points of damage done by a simple 25-point unit with 1 autocannon and 4 HEGMs. Who says you need a hell of a lot of firepower? Because this apparently is enough to get a 27 times markup on 1 unit. So, hope you enjoyed that replay. It's simple. You can get away with Marder if you really want to. Anyway, let me know what you think about the game. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you like my videos, then please consider becoming a Patreon because you really help me out with that. And this November, I'm going to be holding another Patreon night on the 24th. So you can join me and we're going to be playing a couple of games together. More info on that on the Patreon page. Anyway, that's all. Catch you guys later.